will probably come in.
Although it's over time.
It's all ready, it's up to you.
Shall I wait a little bit? Have you got a clicker?
Yes, it's here. It's all ready.
Go.
Right.
Do you want me to start? So,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, because
Were you here?
Yeah, you relax and enjoy it.
I think, there might be some more
Oh, there
people.
might be some more.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
let's
they're
go.
going for a toilet break.
Oh, are they?
So,
Do you mind if I record you? Just.
no, I might just abandon majority of this presentation
okay.
anyway.
I can leave
because,
it then if you want.
yeah. So, I don't know if you know much about Fred Holidays at all.
No, never heard of it.
No.
So we are a sister brand to Fred Olsen Cruise Lines. We just do a wide variety of holidays. So I know we're at a cruise show today, but we also do independent rail holidays, land holidays, where you can hire a car and we can put together a tailor-made itinerary for you.
Oh, right, yeah.
But a lot of the business that we do is river cruise and also ocean cruise and stay. So all of the cruise lines that are here today, we can actually package with land stays and flights and transfers and excursions and extras. So there's quite a lot of cruise strings to the Fred Holidays bow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to differentiate myself from everybody else in the room, I focused on the Mississippi, which I appreciate at the moment. America is a bit more like a Marmite destination. However, it's not stopped people from booking, it's not stopped people from travelling to other destinations in the United States, outside of New York, maybe East Coast, maybe Florida. So I will quickly whiz through this presentation, because if you fancied a Mississippi River cruise in any way, shape or form, I would definitely recommend American Cruise Lines for that. I'll just show you a quick video first and foremost.
It's an sort of boat, isn't it? It's bigger.
Yeah.
There we go. So that just gives you a little overview in terms of what the ships look like. The paddle wheelers are undoubtedly the ships, the river cruise ships that the UK guests go
Want to
for.
go on because
Absolutely.
Because of the history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the riverboat that you saw on the video, that's what they look like inside.
Right,
So
okay.
it always reminds me of the 1800s when you look at the
Yes, it does,
outside, and
yeah,
it kind of gives you the
yeah.
impression that that's what it's going to be like on the inside, but they're not. They're bright, they're airy, they're modern, and the service is fantastic as well. American Cruise Lines have been sailing since 1972. The company was formed, so they're sailing for over 50 years. They're America's #1 choice in terms of river cruise ships, and they sail a huge amount of itineraries, and they have a huge amount of ships. So it's not just the paddle wheelers. They do have the more modern European style boats, plus also coastal ships which sail up the Alaskan coast. And because they're smaller, they can get to the glaciers and they can get to the places of interest that the bigger cruise ships, the more mainstream cruise ships, can't do. It's very restricted in terms of Alaska and permits to go anywhere near the glaciers. So American Cruise Lines are definitely one to consider if you want that small ship experience. And that's exactly what they are. There are never more than 180 passengers. There are 100 passengers maximum on the coastal cats. So it is a really immersive experience, and it's not one where you're with hundreds of thousands of people.
Exactly.
So in terms of the itineraries, they are all over the place. So as I say, the Mississippi is by far the most popular for UK guests, and we've got various different options. There are some lovely itineraries sailing in New England out of Boston at certain times of the year where it's great to go and see the fall colours. They do some lovely itineraries, and you can see coastal beauty, the Maine coast. It's rich in maritime history down that particular area, so you go into some lovely little coastal villages. You can try lobster bakes, so there's lots of different ways to see that particular area. The Hudson is particularly popular as well, and it's great to be able to stay in New York and pair it with a Hudson River cruise. And as I've said, Alaska, these are the kind of things that you would see in Alaska every day, every minute of every day. There is always some wildlife to see. You're in the heart of the gold rush country as well, where and you can experience the Klondike, you can experience the Inuit culture as well. So there's lots of different experiences to be had in Alaska. There are up to 400 excursions that you can choose from, which is included in the price of the cruise. And there are also optional excursions as well. And as you can see there are always outside cabins. There are no inside cabins on any of the ships, which is a huge benefit. So
they've already got a big window.
Absolutely.
What you need.
So it is a very inclusive experience. That's one of the coastal cats you can see at the side. There are certain itineraries where a pre-cruise overnight stay is included. The Mississippi is one of those, so either in Memphis or in New Orleans. Alaska is another one with the sailings from Juneau. We always include a pre-cruise overnight, which then entitles you to a concierge luggage service and also transport to the ship. But the beauty of Fred Holidays is the fact that we can extend your stay and make your holiday a little bit longer with pre and post cruise stay options in lots of the different destinations that the ships are sailing to and from. With American Cruise Lines, you have complimentary drinks with meals, and there is a full bar service with the evening entertainment and also nightly cocktail hours, which are included too. So there is very little extra that you have to pay for when you're on board. As I say, there are over 400 guided excursions. If you wanted to go and explore independently, you're able to do that, and the onboard team would be more than happy to help you plan an independent excursion with their knowledge and with their expertise. But the guided excursions are small group tours, so again it wouldn't be huge groups that you would be with. They're small group tours, or you could guide yourself essentially. And then the enrichment programmes, there are various historians that come on and give lectures in terms of the American history. There are concerts with jazz musicians, with blues bands, with rock and roll musicians. But it isn't like a big cruise ship where you have 6 bars, 4 restaurants. There is one restaurant, there is one area for evening entertainment, and it's very low key. But to be honest, because you're out exploring a lot of the time, the low key entertainment is actually kind of welcome for a lot of customers. In terms of the dining, everything is very sustainable. They try and be as sustainable as possible, and it's all very regionally inspired. So the team of master chefs on board all use locally grown fresh ingredients. If anybody has any dietary requirements, that's no problem whatsoever. And all meals are served to order, so there's no buffet on board. All of the meals are actually served and ordered as and when. One of the benefits, and I know cruising can bring this concept of it's quite formal, and there are certain ships that you have to dress for dinner. It's not like that on board these ships. It's very casual, and the seating in the restaurant is open, so you can dine with who and at what time you choose. So it's very free, it's very flexible, and it's how you want to enjoy your holiday basically. So these are just a couple of suggestions in terms of the packages that we can create for the lower Mississippi. So you can do New Orleans up to Memphis, or you can do this in reverse. As it says, you can extend your stay in Memphis or New Orleans. There is already a night included, but if you wanted to stay longer in either place, we could arrange for that to happen. If any of you are Elvis fans and you really want to pay a pilgrimage to Graceland, we can bob a couple of nights in a Graceland hotel. It's the hotel literally opposite the gates, and we can also include VIP skip the line tickets in terms of entry into Graceland. Or if you wanted to extend this particular itinerary and you wanted to visit Nashville to go and see the Johnny Cash Museum, for example, or Patsy Cline Museum, then we can either include a private car for you to drive up in your own time, and accommodation, or we can transfer you over to Nashville and give you a couple of nights in Nashville as well. We also have packaged this with rail. So again, being part of Fred Holidays, we can include rail transfers with Amtrak up to Chicago or Houston, and then you can fly back from either of those places via London or whichever airline or whichever air routing suits you. So again, it's very flexible. And these are two of the other itineraries that we have. So if you're into your music, you're into blues, Elvis, B.B. King, that kind of thing, the Music Cities cruise is more centred around the places where you are more likely to find excursions dedicated to the music scene. And then the Highlights of the Mississippi is a shorter version of the Lower Mississippi, and this is a round trip New Orleans sailing, which takes in the likes of Ocala, Baton Rouge, Natchez, Vicksburg and St Francisville. So there are a few different options there for you to choose from. I've just taken a couple of quotes from happy customers from American Cruise Lines recently. So, you know, one refers to the fact that they have jazz musicians on board. Most people go to learn a little bit more about the history of the area, and also most people comment on the hospitality and the warm hospitality that that the Americans afford all the guests on board, and there is a mixture of nationalities on board the American Cruise Line ships as well. So that was just a whistle-stop tour through American Cruise Lines for you. I know I've spoken to you guys today about Amadeus River Cruises, but Fred Holidays also represents a number of different brands here in the UK. Amadeus River Cruises is one of them. So it's very much European cruising, European river cruising. Amadeus have been in business 40 years. They're a family-owned business, and they pride themselves on excellent service. They sail the main waterways of Europe, and with them being an Austrian-based company, it's almost like they're showing you their back garden. They've got huge amounts of expertise. They're launching new ships every year. For the past 10 years, they've launched new ones. The vessels are very contemporary, and again, because we're part of Fred Holidays, we can tailor-make your holiday around the river cruises in Europe. So if you wanted to join by Eurostar, for example, if you didn't necessarily want to fly, then we could arrange for that to happen. All the prices in the brochure are inclusive of Manchester flights, and there are private transfers available, so you're collected at the airport you fly into and you're driven privately to the ship to start your European river cruise. So that's just a very brief overview about European river cruising with us. We also represent, I'm juggling about 3 things here now. Pandor River Cruises, which, as you can see from the screen, is a very different cruise ship style, and these cruise ships sail along the Mekong, they sail the Ganges, they sail the Brahmaputra rivers, and they also sail the Red River from Halong Bay through northern Vietnam. It's a very authentic Asian cruise experience. The service is absolutely second to none. The ships are very small, so there is no more than 50 people on board these ships at any one time, and that's at maximum capacity. They sail into places that some of the other ships don't sail into, so you get a real authentic Asian experience. And one of the benefits, if anybody is a single traveller, there is no single supplement on 90% of the voyages of the sailings. So again, if you are a solo traveller, then that is a massive benefit. But they're fairly inclusive. There is just a few extra drinks to pay for on board, but they always have a nice cocktail hour in the evening on the sun deck. There is a lovely restaurant where all requests are catered for. It's very authentic. The spirit of Pandora is what they like to promote, and that's all about the service. It's all about how attentive the team are on board. And then finally, we have National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions, which is a very big mouthful for me to say at this time of day. So I'm just going to call them Lindblad from now on. This is expedition cruising at its best. So if you wanted to travel to the Arctic, the Antarctic, the Galapagos, they do some Mediterranean food and wine expeditions. Baja California is another area that they cover really well. These are the ships to do them on. They're very small. In the Arctic and the Antarctic, size matters because you can only land so many people on the ice at any one time. It's 100 people, and we have a capacity in those areas and on our ships of 180. So you get more time on the ice essentially in the Arctic and the Antarctic with National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions. I said it all again, there we go. But you know, it's with the tie-in with National Geographic, you get the expertise of real experts in the wildlife, in the flora, the fauna, and it's a really immersive experience. And you know, they are fantastic expeditions to be part of. So that's just a little bit of an overview, I guess, of some of the brands that Fred Holidays represent. It would be remiss of me not to mention as well that we can book cruise and stay holidays with all the major cruise lines, as I mentioned earlier. On my desk we have a few leaflets of some of the packages that we've put together with Oceania Cruises, but everything includes flights, everything includes private transfers, there'll be added value on board the ships and also accommodation in various places that are included in that package. So please do come and talk to us if you know cruise and stay is something that you'd like to have a look at, or indeed if I've maybe given you a little bit of inspiration in the 15 minutes I've had. I think it's 15 minutes anyway, isn't it? Probably talked for far too long. You know, please feel free to come and have a chat with me in more detail if you'd like to. Thank you very much for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah, I
very
want to
much.
do that.
Thank you.
Get that brochure.